revolution. When we start the revolution, all they probably do is squeal, but chill. When we start the revolution, when we start the revolution, all they probably do is squeal, but chill.
We are African, and we happen to be in America. We're not American. We are people who formerly were Africans who were kidnapped and brought to America. Our forefathers weren't the Pilgrims. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. The rock was landed on us. We were brought here against our will. We were not brought here to be made citizens. We were not brought here to enjoy the constitutional gifts that they speak so beautifully about today. Because we weren't brought here to be made citizens today, now that we've become awakened to some degree and we begin to ask for those things which they say are supposedly for Americans, they look upon us with hostility and unfriendliness. If you're interested in freedom, you need some judo, you need some karate, you need all the things that will help you fight for freedom. Nationalism is the wave of the present and the future. It is nationalism that's bringing freedom to oppressed people all over the world. It was nationalism that brought freedom to the Algerians. It was nationalism that brought freedom to the Nigerians and to the Ghanaians. It was nationalism that brought freedom to the people of Uganda and Tanganyika and Sudan and Somaliland. The Africans didn't get it by sitting in. They didn't get it by waiting in. They didn't get it by singing "We Shall Overcome." They got it through nationalism. And you and I will get it through nationalism. What is it? What is it that makes it difficult for the philosophy of nationalism to spread among the so-called Negroes? Number one, they think they have a stake in America. They think they have an investment in this country, which we do. We invested 310 years of slave labor, 310 years, every day of which your and my mother and father worked for nothing. Not 8 hours a day. There was no union in that day. They worked from sun up until sundown, from can't see in the morning until can't see at night. They never had a day off. And on Sunday, they were allowed to sit down and sing about when they died, they wouldn't be slaves no more. When they died, they wouldn't be slaves no more. They'd go up in the sky, and every day would be Sunday. That's a shame. And it is that 310 years of slave labor that went in, that was my and your contribution into this particular economy and political system. They can give us the back pay. Let's join in. If this is what the Negro wants, let's join in. Let's show him how to struggle. Let's show him how to fight. Let's show him how to bring about a real revolution. Let's make him stop jiving. You don't need a debate.
A black nationalist is an American black person and could be a black person in some other part of the African diaspora, but distinctly away from the continent of Africa itself. A black nationalist is a person of African descent, not on the continent of Africa, who believes that black people in his or her country of residence and probably birth constitute a nation of people within a greater or larger nation of people who are not themselves black. So those of us in America who are black or of African descent and who perceive our people collectively to constitute a nation within a nation are in fact black nationalists. And the first few letters of the word nationalist are nation. So you're people who believe that we are a nation of people. But beyond simply believing that we are a nation of people, a black nationalist should logically believe that we should therefore conduct ourselves and our affairs to the maximum extent possible as a nation would if in fact we had our own geographic boundaries that constituted a nation. So a nationalist is a black person who believes that we blacks in America should organize ourselves in such a way as to be able to maximize the benefits to be derived by black people from our presence here in America. So my focus of nationalism is as it was taught by and advocated by the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Not all nationalists.
What up? Uncle Jeff Snap, who two up on Black Power was going down. You already know this is your brother, like no other, Inglewood, like you see R&M. Tune into another one of those episodes of that good old R&M RBG TV. You already know, film, we keeps it G. You know what I mean? Rolling on cut shit, common sense science talk for the family, you already know. Common sense for the common people. Seeking common solutions. And we all dealing with, the common issues, but we seeking common solutions nonetheless. What's my best piece of advice, family? You should know this by now. Say it with me. Black love. Why is that? Because black love is the cure for the black nation. So let's get it. Ain't no time to be wasting. Today, I got a topic in mind. Very important, very vital, very relevant nonetheless. And I think we need to slow down. Sometimes we get a little ahead of ourselves a little bit. So we need to, slow down, take it back to basics, if you would. Break shit down on a simple, common level. Once again, common sense for the common people. That way we all can comprehend this thing on a mutual to propel ourselves forward and advance ourselves forward for a mutual benefit. You dig? And once again, that topic is and always will be black nationalism. Can't escape it. With that being said, we're going to get into a little text. Once again, this is something that folks ain't talking on. So we're going to talk about it a little bit. Blueprint for Black Power, by none other than the late great, if I must personally say, the greatest psychologist that we could have ever had. You feel what I'm saying? Amos Wilson. You dig? So with that being said, we're going to take a look into this, what he's got to say on the topic of nationalism. Why nationalism, what it is. And like I said, I'm not going to get into too much of it, what his words is, but nonetheless, if you don't have it, you need to go get the book your damn self and read it for yourself, and you'll see exactly why I keep pushing this all the time. But like I said, I just want to give a little bit, just a little tip of the iceberg nonetheless, on what this whole national thing is about. Once again, these are not my words. These are words of the ancestor, Amos Wilson. If you don't know who it is, do your homework, do your research. That's all I can honestly say about that. But if you will, hold on before, let me get my water. You already know I gotta get my water in. I do a reading. But once again, family, before I even go further, I'm gonna name today's bill. I'm gonna call it not even Pan-African. I'm gonna call it Black Nationalism or Perish. Or if you will, Pan-Africanism or die. Either or, but you'll see what it is when I load it up. Black nationalism or perish, or Pan-Africanism or die. Your choice, you decide, family. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. You can't run from it. So once again, like I said, we're going to get into this text coming from Amos Wilson. This is coming from page 849. Once again, Blueprint for Black Power. And the name of this chapter is very small. It's called Why Nationalism. Alright, so when you get the book, look at page 849. It starts at the last little bit of the page. I'm not sure if you can see it. That's what it's going to look like. Like I said, 849, Blueprint for Black Power. Feel what I'm saying? All right, so let's get it. Why nationalism? Nationalism is a double-edged sword. It can be wielded as a tool of oppression by a cohesively organized people or nation states, such as those of Western Europe, who use it to impose an exploitative rule over many non-European nations and peoples, or by white Americans to enslave and otherwise dominate black Americans. It can also be used as a tool to organize and oppress people, nation states, to best achieve their liberation from oppression and/or to achieve sovereignty or self-determination to gain a control of a national territory. While the nationalism of some peoples or nation states may be evoked to utilize to realize some racial sense of superiority, quote-unquote manifest destiny, or to motivate one group to commandeer and exploit resources of another. The nationalism of some peoples or nation states is evoked and utilized to liberate themselves from their oppressors, exploitation, and imperialistic peoples or nation states, to increase and realize their inherent socioeconomic potentials without necessarily implying that they are racially superior or intended to dominate other peoples or nation states. Before I even go further, so basically what's being said thus far, you got two types of nationalism. Nonetheless, if you've read this book, it's another one of my favorites, Race First, right, by Tony Martin. If you've read this one, you know what he means when he say there's two types of nationalisms, whatever, if you will. One to oppress, one to liberate. Now, with that being said, within the context of that last book I just showed you, Race First by Tony Martin, Garvey's whole notion, you see him right there, the big homie, his whole notion was race first. You do you, you do you, you do you, we damn sure gonna do us. As long as nobody crosses any boundaries, nobody violates the second and third, all is well, it is what it is. The minute you cross a line, now I gotta take it to you, I gotta defend mine just as much as you wanna defend yours. Race first. Nationalism, again, two different types. You got the one that wants to basically put their foot on somebody's neck to show that they're strong and shit, mightily imperialistic. Then you have the other one who unites for a common goal, common sense for the common people, like I always say. And they free themselves, they liberate themselves. All on one common core, one common agenda. Alright, so let's keep it moving. The form of nationalism intends, let me go back, because I'm pretty sure y'all forgot where I left off. Alright, while the nationalism of some peoples or nation states may be evoked and utilized to realize some racial sense of superiority, quote-unquote manifest destiny, or to motivate one group to commandeer and exploit the resources of another, the nationalism of some peoples or nation states is evoked and utilized to liberate themselves from their oppressive exploitation by imperialistic peoples, nation states, to increase and I'm sorry, my fault, pardon me if you will. Alright, we back. Exploitation by imperialistic peoples or nation states to increase and realize their incoherent socioeconomic potentials without necessarily implying that they are racially superior or intend to dominate other peoples or other nation states. The former nationalism, this is where I left off at. The former nationalism intends to achieve or maintain national self-determination while denying the status of others insofar as able to do so. The latter nationalism intends to achieve and sustain national self-determination while not engaging in imperialism or denying autonomy or intention is not. While autonomy or independent nationhood to others. Apologies. Thus, nationalism by definition or intention is not a monolithic concept, and therefore all nationalisms are not the same or equally racially or politically precarious or counterproductive as some Eurocentrics and liberals, intellectuals, and government spokespersons will have you believe. In other words, what they're saying is, just because you think we're the same, we're not the same. People are starting to put themselves forward for their own personal gain. It's not that whole notion of integration that they sold us, right? Back in the 60s. We got to update our times. It's 2015. That integration shit has never worked since the beginning of time. It's never worked. People do what they do as far as business and trade because that's commerce. That's nothing. Money got to flow. But as far as dealing with each other on a social level, that shit will never fly. That shit will never fly. That was a wish and a dream and you bought it. nationalism is the way to go, because at the end of the day, it's all about self-preservation. You got to do what you got to do to make sure you will sustain all the time for your generation and generations to follow. You got to put yourself first at all levels of the game. This is what they're saying, man. All right, we're gonna keep going. I ain't got that much. I just want to, like I said, I just want to share this with you. I believe it's very important because I don't feel folks are really talking about this. Folks are so caught up in dealing with the mythology systems and the religious systems and this, that, and the third, and want to deal with millions and gazillion years ago, which is cool. Shit is, if it's history, it's history. That's all to the well and good. But at the end of the day, we got to learn to deal with what the hell's going on right now. And once again, nationalism is the way for our people to go. If we cannot unite on a common core, dealing against a common enemy, what the hell are we doing? We ain't gonna do nothing but further propel ourselves into extinction. This is why I say black nationalism or perish, Pan-Africanism or die. If we don't get the concept of race first, doing for self, and when I mean self, I'm talking about the self of black, not individualism, because individualism gets us nowhere. That's another trick that they sold us back in the 70s. You feel what I'm saying? Go get yours, do you, get yours, the next man, it is what it is. Competition. That's very counterproductive. That's very counterproductive. So in other words, like I said, we have to get aligned to what nationalism is, what it's about, what it entails. That's how we're going to move forward. Look at your enemies around you. Look at everybody around you. They practice nationalism. You may not see them out, you know what I'm saying, doing what we do because we're visual people. So we have our banners and this, that, and the third. We put on our festivals and this, that, and the third. Them, on the other hand, they're actually smart with it. They just do the shit. Us, on the other hand, we have to do the visuals and all the extra stuff to rejuvenate that whole spark, if you will, because it's so foreign to us. We've been lost from it for so long. We have to do all this extra shit, if you will. So it seems attractive. Them, on the other hand, they've been doing it for so long, it's second nature, they just do it. Nationalism is they life. India for Indians, Europe for the Europeans, etc., 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 etc. Us, on the other hand, we gotta get our shit in line, family. It's for our survival, man. Self-preservation. That's what I'm trying to tell you. All right. So now we 850, page 850, second paragraph. Like I said, this is, you want to get this book, family. I'm trying to tell you, it's a weapon. Black or African nationalism is of second variety, a nationalism of liberation and self-determination, not of conquest and domination. It is premised on the precept that blacks as a people should not be the subjects of another people, nor should they subject other peoples. That black peoples and nations should exercise their full rights to develop and utilize their material, human, and spiritual resources primarily for their own and well-being and for the benefit and the well-being of others as they see fit to do it. For example, race first. Family, you can't run from it. Alright. They view their personhood and humanity, their nationality and ethnicity as equal to that of any other persons or peoples of the world. That they are not inferiors of others and are not destined by God or man to exist the forced servitude of others. You know how like they say in all these holy books, basically that this shit is destined by God, it's ordained, that's why we're doing what we're doing. Come on, man, we gotta get away from this stuff and face reality for what it is, man. Feel me? And when and if and for how long they may be willfully subjected to the domination of others, that they are commissioned by their inalienable right to freedom as human beings, as to resist such domination and to overthrow it as soon as humanly possible. Revolution sounds what it says like to me. Complete cosmic change, family. I'm gonna say that again. And when and if and for however long they may be willfully subjected to the domination of others, they are commissioned and by their inalienable right to freedom as human beings to resist such domination and to overthrow it as soon as humanly possible. Revolution. This is the bedrock credo of black nationalism today as it manifests in the United States of America, across the diaspora, and the world. Now I'm going to jump over to page 851 real quick. Alright, this is the top paragraph, if you will. Black nationalism recognizes that the power of African people to achieve liberation and self-determination lies within their grasp. Our duty, our obligation, by our hands. African liberation and self-determination will not and cannot be willed or given to African peoples by non-African peoples. In other words, stop extending your hand. That common shit don't work. It ain't been working forever. Alright? It ain't been working. So put your hands back in your pocket. Put your money back in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? Put your value systems back in the hood. Put your value systems back in the family. That's the only thing that's going to work. Alright? They must be won through the self-sustained exercise of power generated by Africans themselves. Do you for you, because they ain't doing it for you. The primary tools used by Black or African nationalists in breaking the mental chains of subordination of African peoples to other peoples are historical and cultural rearmament. The Black nationalism recognizes that European peoples' domination of Black peoples has been primarily achieved and maintained by their stringently clever falsification of the consciousness of Black people. Translation: they mess up everything. They twist up history and then resell the shit to you and you buy it. Because you're not willing to go back and do the history. Because they know you're not willing to sit back and do the research and this, that, and third and learn who you are prior to slavery. They can sell you anything and your black ass is just going to believe it. This is what they're talking about when they say playing minds on the consciousness of Black people. Psychosis is real, family. This shit is for real. You got to study the psychology of your people, man, and you'll understand where it comes, what we're all involved in. Then on the other hand, you got to study the psychology of who you're dealing with, and you'll see how twisted they shit is. You got to study your enemies too, man. The falsification of African consciousness, the related conditioning of African behavior, combined with the material and social deprivations imposed on Africans under the ages of European economic and military prowess, describes the fundamental context of African American and Pan-African socio-economic, social-cultural subordination and physical peril. Translation: when you see how messed up the mind is, you'll see exactly what's going on outside. At the end of the day, your eyes see when you walk outside what it is. You feel what I'm saying? But once your third eye opens, then you can see what lies under. The superficial, it is what it is, but you got to see the depths of reality. You dig? That's what they're talking about when they talk about the psychology. These conditions must be hastily and soundly rectified if Africans in America and the world over are to survive and prosper in freedom. Again, The Blueprint for Black Power by none other than Amos M. Wilson. Get the book if you do not have it. So, when we talk about nationalism, why is it important? Why am I calling today Black nationalism or perish, Pan-Africanism or die? It's very simple. I'm going to take you back to a document that I always like to bring up in conversation, that people really do not like to bring up in conversation, which just bugs the hell out of me. Write this down, family. It should be, I'm going to put this up in the description box too, so look for that as well. National Security Council Memorandum 46. I'm going to repeat that. National Security Council Memorandum 46. When you read it, your eyes are going to open. You're going to see exactly why nationalism is important, why Pan-Africanism is important. It's vital for our survival. You feel what I'm saying? We have to end up locking arms on a global level. But before we lock arms on a global level, we right here, you feel what I'm saying? Us right here in the West, primarily in America, because not for nothing, the world is actually waiting on us to get our shit together so we can actually jumpstart this thing. Everybody always says, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? It's not going to happen until us right here get our shit straight. We got to get our value systems in soon. Once again, this is what I talk to the kids at the youth center on Fridays about. Value systems. What do we value? You feel what I'm saying? What is it that we put our energy into? Do we put our energy into survival, or do we put our energy into turning up on a Friday? You feel what I'm saying? Meanwhile, come Saturday, we're going to be struggling how to figure out how we're going to survive the next 13 days because we just got paid yesterday, but we spent all our money at the club. You feel what I'm saying? Value systems. So again, the whole concept of nationalism is survival. It's black survival. Period. Point blank. At the end of the day, if you do not get your mind grounded on survival, if you don't start thinking and centering your mind around survival tactics for you, your family, and your people, I'm telling you what it is, man. I hate to say it like this, but black folks, we are on the verge of extinction. And we're doing it ourselves as well as outside forces. But most important, really and truly, we're doing it mostly ourselves. Outside forces really don't got to do too much. Yeah, I know you see what you see on the TV with the police brutality. And I see what you see, you know what I'm saying, all the other stuff that's going on out there all across the news. In other words, the breaking news when they flash it in front of your face when they want you to get riled up. You feel what I'm saying? They know you're reactionary. They know that you do not have a plan mapped out for your survival. They know you don't have a plan mapped out for tomorrow nonetheless. They know you live day to day. Black man, black woman, black child. They know you do not have a concrete foundation. They know until that you get a concrete foundation, they got you right where the hell they want you. They can manipulate you all day, every day, and there's nothing that you can do about it. This is what they think. So this is how they move. Once again, like I always say, what you think, you speak. What you speak, you'll live. You see they've been speaking this shit for the longest of time. You see they've been walking it for the longest of time. So what you think their mind is wrapped around? Their mind is wrapped around the nationalism of imperialism upon another people. Going back to what Dr. Amos Wilson was saying a minute ago. There's two types of nationalisms. One that imposes dominant forces and imperialism type tactics upon another people. Two, the nationalism to free oneself from oppression, to liberate oneself. This is the mindset that we have to have. We have to have the mindset of nationalism number two. You feel what I'm saying? To free oneself. Nobody's going to do the shit for us. Why are you sitting back waiting on the government to do it? Matter of fact, for example, I just said something about the whole police activity a minute ago, right? With these whole police incidences, right? We hear the famous line, this police agency is starting their own internal investigation. And y'all fall for the shit. You fall for the shit. They kill us, and then you expect them to investigate themselves. You feel what I'm saying? To charge themselves for crime that they committed. It's not going to happen, family. It's not going to happen. So at the end of the day, you have to find a concept which is black nationalism. Once you realize that it is within the hood already, it's within yourselves already, all you have to do is basically act on this shit. You feel what I'm saying? Once you come to that realization, you will want to liberate yourselves and stop seeking handouts. Stop seeking somebody to free you that put you in shit. How you really expect people to free you that put you in bondage? They put you in bondage for a reason, and you really think they're going to free your black ass? It's not likely, it's not common, it don't make sense. So what are we saying? Black nationalism will set you free. Black nationalism will set you free. If you go back to in the very beginning, where Brother Minister Malcolm, when he was talking about how nationalism freed various different peoples at various different times, you feel what I'm saying? It is what it is. They came to a common core. They say, yo, listen, forget the petty shit. Forget the personal stuff. I'm leaving that at the crib. I know you got the same issue as I got, she got, he got, all of us got. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to map out a plan, and we're going to execute it accordingly. We're going to do it as a unified people, a unified front, and we're going to push these bums off. And that's what it was. They did it by nationalism. Once black man, woman, and child here in America gets their mind centered around nationalism, that is, I promise you, that is when the world at large, the rest of the black world at large, all around the globe, this is when the spark of global Pan-Africanism, that will be the rise. Because now you'll have global trade, you'll have global communication. You feel what I'm saying? That's culture, that's commerce. You feel what I'm saying? Sciences, just how we did back in the ancient world. Everybody likes to talk about what we did back in the ancient world. We can do that shit all over again once we put our mind towards nationalism. Leave the rhetorics alone. Leave the religious ideologies alone. That right there, that's some shit that could come much later in time. Once we get our nation states and lands or whatever established and erected, whatever, we can do that in our own personal communities. We can do that. It's not a big deal. But that's much later. You guys got that on the forefront right now. Like that really gives a damn. Like anybody really gives a shit about that. They really don't. We don't get rolled down. I know this sounds familiar. We don't get rolled on because we Christian, Muslim, Hebrew, Moorish, etc., etc., etc. We get rolled on because we black. So this is what we need to unify on. This is what we need to surround ourselves on and fight for. Period, point blank. All that other shit is irrelevant at this moment in time, man. Real talk. It's 2015, allegedly, and we have yet to make a major push in this country in ages. Value systems. But I didn't want to be too long. You feel what I'm saying? Let me show y'all the text again, just in case you don't know. Wrap your mindset around these concepts, man. All those holy texts, they're holy as hell. This is why they got so many damn loopholes in them. We keep falling in them. It's not going to get us anywhere. Again, that's personal. Do what we do. We need to wrap our minds around some real shit. Some real shit. This is a real ideology. I'm not gonna say the ideology. This is a real life walk. Because everybody around us is living this shit. We the only ones that's running from this shit. This right here is a tool to get us back to this. You feel what I'm saying? Black survival, family. Self-reliance, self-determination, self-preservation, man. What you want for your nation. Let that marinate. Roll it around. Think about it. All that good stuff, man. It's very vital, man. Like I said, nationalism, black nationalism will perish. Pan-Africanism will die, man. Your choice. You the only one that know the answer. One of those self-gut checks that you gotta deal with when you look in the mirror, when you wake up, when you step out the house. I know what it is for me and mine. 432, you know how we do. RNM or BG's all in together now. It is what it is. Black nationalism, family. Get your shit together. Get your mind together. Everybody else is living. Everybody else is sustaining. Everybody else is doing what they do. And you're helping them nonetheless because you don't have your mind set to where it needs to be. They do. They do. European thrives because they have their mind set on European prosperity. East Indian thrives because he has his mind centered on East Indian prosperity. You feel what I'm saying? Etc. The Hispanics, the Asian, anybody else that's out there. Black man, black woman, black child, when you gonna do it? When you gonna do it? Gut check. Black nationalism or perish. Pan-Africanism or die, family. You feel what I'm saying? But in the meantime, between time, keep it locked, keep it G. You already know this is RNM or BG TV, and I am your brother in Google. Now you see RANM, baby. You dig? Value systems. Get that shit together, man, so we can do this thing and make it happen, man. We got babies out here. What we gonna do for them? Thank for the babies if you ain't gonna do it for your damn self. Leave them something to look back and say, yeah, my people's left this for me. Instead of them looking back saying, my people's left this shit for me. You feel what I'm saying? Two types, family. But in the meantime, between time, keep it locked, keep it G right here. You already know, man. I got something next time coming in for you. Uncle Job Seneb, which is life, prosperity, and health. Hutuapo, which is peace. And black power, which is something that we all got once we tap into it. Bang, keep it locked, keep it G, baby. 432, Garvey Covers, you know how we do. All in together now, baby. RNMOBG TV. Peace.